want to do, what we feel is right, what we think we should do in order to be obedient to God? Doesn't that have to occur? Don't we have to set ourselves aside, set our own desires, our own wants off to the side in order to be obedient to God? Yeah. That's what He calls of us. That's what He asks us to do. Set our pride off to the side. Rhyme. I didn't even mean to do that.
That was good.
Okay?
Like
Set our pride off to the side. Get rid of it. Okay? Forget what we want. Forget our desires, our wants, and obey God. Same thing Naaman had to do. I'm going to get to Mr. Charlie in a second because I want to go wherever he's going. But I'm going to go here first. I want to go here first because there is 2 more points I want to make and I want to hit Mr. Charlie. Mr. Charlie, don't let your mind wander and forget your idea.
You know that's hard for now.
You already forgot it anyways. Okay, anything else we can see from this story? How about the servant girl? How about the servant girl? We don't know exactly how old this girl was, but it mentioned young girl. Had taken captive a young girl from Israel. So we know she was young. Exactly how young, old, who knows. But she was probably not far off of our age in here. Probably wasn't far off. What can we take from her?
Did she set aside like her feelings of him kidnapping her, for instance, to help him?
Okay. Okay, definitely. If he's again the whole Aram, or not even that, the whole slave master relationship there, and she's looking to help him
Instead of having, instead of wanting to pay back and be like mean to him or whatever, she put that aside and looked for what was better for him instead of her own.
Yeah, definitely. Jen, you had your hand up.
It was
Basically the same thing? Okay, yeah.
Ooh, slowly back.
She helped her master, her boss, the guy who basically told her what she had to do. Along those same lines, you have the whole Aram-Israel thing. They didn't like each other to begin with. She's helping somebody from a foreign nation, a foreign people group that they don't get along with. Okay? And what about from Naaman's side? Naaman's taking advice from that. Naaman's taking advice from an Israelite to go get healed by an Israelite. Again, a people group they don't like, they don't get along with.
It's a part of the Lord.
What's that?
Isn't that like a part of the Lord? Like
Yeah.
caring about what issue or
Yeah, exactly. Viewing all men as equal. A lot of times we view ourselves as superior to somebody else. Whether it be because we're in a different clique, whether it be because we're a different race, whether it be whatever. A lot of times we view ourselves as superior. We have to get over that. We have to get over that. Anything else, anybody besides Mr. Charlie? No? What about this one? What about this one? And this is a little bit deeper, and this might even be where Mr. Charlie's going. I'm not 100% sure. If not, we have 2 semi-deep things to dive into. It's going to be amazing. Okay. Naaman had to lower himself. Had to do something small to be cured, to be washed clean, to be made clean. Okay? Had to do something small. How does that compare or parallel the idea of salvation today?
we just got to ask Jesus into our hearts, and that's it. It's about, well, not quite. I mean, you can't just say, oh, say it. Let's go screw if he goes. You can't really do that.
Way to be blunt right there. Yeah, don't do all that.
Okay, well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Great.
It's basically the same thing because it's something so simple that and the result is big. It's like he had leprosy. There's like no cure, but something that simple could cure it. I mean, something so simple can. Yes.
Something so simple, so small, can offer such huge reward.
And most people don't think that something small can make
Exactly.
a big impact.
Exactly. If you were to talk to somebody who is not a Christian and ask them, how do you think you could get to heaven? I would venture to say at least 60 to 75% of them are going to tell you, well, you have to be a good person. Well, what does that involve? Okay? You obviously have to do good stuff. You have to do all this good stuff. Okay? Well, what if you're bad at some point? Well, you have to be more good than bad. Okay? So what if you did something really bad at some point? Well, then you better do something really good at another point to kind of balance that out to make it look good. Okay? All this stuff you have to supposedly do. You have to do all this stuff. I was talking to a guy at Lowe's about it, and he was like, "But I'm a good person, blah blah blah. I have to do all this good stuff." No. All we have to do to get to heaven is that one small thing. Believe.
But then you have to follow it up.
That's the result. That's not necessarily, and that's where a lot of people kind of get messy with Christianity. If we really believe it, the actions automatically happen. We then want to do that. Kind of like we were talking about last night, the change that happens. We believe that change happens. We want to do that stuff. It no longer becomes a list of rules, a list of stuff we have to do, stuff we have to follow. Before all the blood runs out of your hand. What's up?
I was on the internet the other day.
Were you?
Yeah.
He was on the internet the other day.
And,
What?
I was watching GodTube, and there's a good video that illustrates what I'm talking about. They had where there was a line of people, and they would go up to the scale, and it was the good meter. They called it the good meter. And there's like guys that come up and be like, "Oh, I did a whole bunch of good stuff. How good do you think you were?" And I think I did good enough. They had this big file, and go through the people. Of course, all of them they thought they were good, but it went not good enough, not good enough. And then there's one guy. He was like, he was at the end. He's like, "I think I did enough good stuff." And then he wouldn't step on scale, but some guy came up. He had a big folder full of stuff that he did wrong. But this other guy came up, that was Jesus, and he had a folder that was had one paper in it saying that he knew Jesus. So he threw away the other folder and it was just that one folder. So, how they show how it covers up.
That's such a good video.
Okay, cool.
You should look
I'll
at it.
check that out.
Check
Check
it
it
out.
I like it. God too.
It's called the good.
It's like
Good
YouTube
job.
with God too.
It's like the God version of YouTube.
Yeah.
Good job,
God
Paul.
too. Okay, but guys, in the same way that Naaman had to put off his wants and desires in order to be obedient to God, we have to do the same thing. We have to lower ourselves. We have to put off our wants, our sinful desires, and do that one little small thing. That one little small thing. And just like Naaman, it provided great reward. Okay? Just like Naaman, it cleansed him of leprosy. It cleansed him of this humiliation he had. It cleansed him of this public humiliation. It cleansed him of this horrible disease, incurable disease. Just like that, we lower ourselves, we do that one little small thing, and we're saved. We escape eternal punishment. We escape eternal withdrawal or eternal separation, that's the word I'm looking for, from God. We have God on earth with us right now. We don't know what it's like to be in a world without God. Even as bad as this world is, God is still present in this world. I don't even want to see a world without God. We think this one's bad. But guys, that's what we get to escape just by humbling ourselves, throwing our pride, our fleshly wants to the side and doing that one little small thing, believing that He came for us. I take it you have something to add.
Not really, but yeah. I just want to make it quick because I know everybody's getting hungry and stuff, but this is the first time I ever heard this passage, and I was like, as soon as he read it, I was like, this is pretty awesome, because this is 100% of our lives in this little passage. For instance, his leprosy represents our sin in our lives, okay? The little girl that's a servant represents whoever witnessed to you to begin with. Because she's telling him, why don't you just go to my country and let the prophet there heal you? So he's interested. And just like most of us, whenever we come to find Christ, we're interested. We want to go find out. But then whenever we get there and we find out what we got to do, you got to let that sin go. You got to push it behind us and look forward to God. We don't want to do that. And it's as simple as him saying, here it is. And I mean, we're dead on the same page, but that's why I asked how deep, because I didn't want to go too fast.
Great minds think alike.
I won't go that far. No, I'm just kidding. Yes. Actually, one mind thinks alike. That's God. But anyways, yeah.
I see what you did there.
Because he pointed it out to us, both of us. You know. But, you know, the sin was there. Our sin is there. And somebody tells us about Christ and somebody tells us about it, but yet we don't want to make that decision to say, I don't want this sin anymore in my life. I want to let God take it over. I want to let God control 100% of it. And yet so many times it's, you know, I had a great conversation with somebody today, and finally, you know, it's been a couple of years, but hey, everything is really looking up for them. You know, everything is really looking up for them now because finally they've let it go. And that's what our sins are, is we're supposed to let it go and let God deal with it, and it helps us out. But so many times we want to try to do it on our own, just like Naaman here. He's like, oh no, if it ain't going to be some big thing, I don't want to have anything to do with it. That's just ridiculous, because then I won't be in the limelight. And I want to be in the limelight. If we humble ourselves to Christ and fall to our knees and say, I know that you're the ultimate one. I know that you can control all this and take all this away from me. That's what we're supposed to be doing. But in order to do that, our friends might be like, you've changed. You're not the same person. I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. And we can't give up our friends, because if we give them up here, what are we going to have in heaven? You know, I mean, so many times that's our, maybe not our mentality, maybe not our mentality of it, but it's like, I don't want to lose my friends. And if it was drinking that's the problem, and I'm going out with my friends and I'm drinking, if I stop drinking, they're going to be like, they're going to make fun of me and stuff. I just can't do that. And that's basically what Naaman's doing. And finally, he's like, look, if he had told you to go drink a fifth of alcohol and you'd be healed, you'd have done it in a heartbeat. You know, but he's saying, do something so belittling as to humble yourself, to fall to his knees and say, you're the man. You know, and so many times we don't do that. But that's literally all I had was, it breaks it down to three things: sin, a witness, and making a decision for yourself to leave that sin behind.
Light your hair.
Guys, the key part, again, is humbling ourselves. Okay? That's required of the Christian life. Required. Okay? Not only is it required to become a Christian, but it is an, what's the word I'm looking for? It's an immediate reaction afterwards. Just like Michael was talking about, you can't just make a decision or say you make a decision and be good the rest of your life. It doesn't work like that. Okay, if you actually made the decision, there's going to be a change, and people will see a difference in you, and you will live differently. If you do not live differently, if there is not a change, and people don't see that difference, you didn't make a decision. You're still the same person you were. Okay? Part of that change, part of that difference in us is us becoming humble. Is us becoming humble. Is the process of us lowering ourselves for other people. Okay? That's included. That's not a requirement afterwards. It's part of who we become. It's part of who we are. It's part of Christianity, is humbling ourselves.